Then we have John Gleason. John is the host of the podcast Godless Engineer. John,
Hello.
You consider yourself a Democrat, is that right, John, or independent?
Yeah, I guess independent might be the best way to go about it. I mean, I usually just listen to people's positions and then I pick the one that aligns with what I like the best.
Sounds good. I want to start with you, John. With this question. There is a historical precedent that the VP gets the nomination of the party. This year, it seems Biden may have to fight for it if he does officially run. Why do you think it's just given to Hillary?
Why do I think that
Why do you think the nomination seems to, from the Democrat side, given to Hillary as opposed to Biden, just Biden? Why does Biden actually have to fight for it?
Well, I would think that Biden would have to fight for it just because he's been associated with the Obama administration, and a lot of people are sore at the Obama administration in general. I honestly haven't had a problem with the Obama administration, and I guess maybe if you were to look at popular media, whatnot, like for instance Saturday Night Live, I mean he's regularly portrayed as kind of one of those, I guess, doughy-eyed kind of people. Not to say that a lot of the candidates aren't that same way, but I think that a lot of people are probably looking for a change, looking for a new route, and yeah, a change. And so that's why I think that Hillary would just be, but he would have to be he would have to work for it or whatever.
Who would you vote for? Who would you vote for between the two, Hillary or Biden, and why?
Well, I don't really know their positions. I especially don't know Biden's position. I know some of Hillary's. I would have to go with Hillary just because I don't know Biden's positions. So, like right now, I would vote Hillary, but if Biden were to actually put his bid in, I would educate myself further. I don't know. Does he have his bid in for the presidency?
He hasn't officially announced, but it's pretty much just waiting on the official announcement. How history will view the Obama administration? Do you agree with Steb? Was there lawlessness during his administration?
No, I mean, honestly, I think that history will look, pretty decently on. He's done some pretty positive things, I think. There may have been some mistakes done, but I mean, what presidency isn't without mistakes? I don't think that there's ever been a presidency that has had just a perfect, track record by anyone's perception. So, but overall, I mean, I think that they would favor him, at least on the overall, the overview of it. I think that he would be portrayed as positive influence.
John, let me ask you: do you feel Obama has broken laws or the Constitution?
Well, considering this is really outside my knowledge base, I mean, I would say it's hard for me to say if he has or hasn't. I mean, of course, he hasn't been prosecuted for any. He hasn't been really impeached for any. That doesn't mean that he hasn't done it. But I mean, if he has, I would expect him to held accountable for them, but just going off of some of the things that I heard, I'm not too sure if the first one going out, I'm guessing with the pardons is what you were
recess appointments is what I meant.
Okay. Like appointments as far as appointing people to positions?
Right, like if the Senate or the House are out of session and one of these people would die, there's recess appointments. He actually appointed them while Senate was in session, which is the specific line and verse out of Constitution he's not allowed to do. So I just hit.
I would like to hear that line and verse because I think that's a loophole.
I can't quote it for you right now, but it's specifically laid out of who gets to make what appointments when. And so it's not really it's pretty black and white in terms of how it's laid out. I apologize, I can't tell you right now.
Are specifically delineated in the Constitution in Section 1 that they're internally defined.
Okay, I want to move on to a question for Steb specifically, and I think this will get to a meaty part of our discussion here, if you will. Steb, do you feel Kim Davis was justly taken into custody?
It's a good question. I think there's a lot of controversy surrounding it. I have my theological or moral opinions on it, but I think broader, I think it's really an issue of, again, of law and order and of authority. I think the question should be, if you have two different authorities telling you to do something that contradict each other, which authority should you listen to? Does one have more than the other? And so should we have a difference of, we have legally established state law versus a opinion given by the United States Supreme Court. So which one trumps the other?
I didn't expect you to say that. I thought you were going to say God versus the law. Go ahead.
Sure.
John, on your YouTube channel, which you can find at youtube.com/godlessengineer, you have done several videos on Kim Davis. Do you agree with Steb and his statements?
Well, let's get one thing straight. I mean, they didn't. I mean, it's not a. Okay, what the Supreme Court did, they didn't issue an opinion so much. Well, I guess they did issue an opinion, but I mean, what they did was they made a judgment on what the Constitution, as it currently stands, like what it says in regards to, marriage equality. And so, well. Given that they surmise that from the Constitution it doesn't limit, marriages to, man and a woman, that same-sex marriages are in fact legal, and so they don't have to create new laws because they're just interpreting the current laws and making a decision, as to whether or not. It is legal as in the current state of the government.
So I would ask, do you think that the United States Supreme Court, based on what the power given in the Constitution, do they have the right to overturn state laws that are not on issues that aren't specifically addressed in the United States Constitution? Do they have that authority? And if so, why and where do they get that authority?
They gave it to themselves.
That's what I would say.
Well, okay. For one thing, we have to. Just think about what the purpose is of a federal government. I mean, we're the United States of America. We're tied together under this federal government. You have to have some kind of central entity to
Absolutely.
Provide the base.
You have to have it.
Right?
You have to have.
Okay, anarchist. Okay.
Otherwise, I wouldn't know how to run my life. I don't know what to do without them.
Well. I mean, if you consider, if you have the federal government, that's kind of the central thing that's providing the base layer of the laws, and then allowing the states to build up off of that and make their own laws.
Absolutely.
I think that the Supreme Court definitely does have the power to supersede laws at a state level because of the fact that they are when new laws are made, new amendments are made to the Constitution, we all, the Senate, everything has to go through a process, and everybody
Absolutely.
votes on it and gets voted in there.
Sure.
And so that's that's the binding contract, or if you will, for the state to be the union. Huh?
What contract? I didn't sign no contract. I got no contract.
No, it's the contract.
Nothing. I didn't sign any
contract.
I didn't write my name on nothing. I got no contract.
Go ahead, John.
No. The contract. The contract is between the states.
I didn't sign no contract.
The contract is between the states and the federal government. I mean, when they said, "Hey, we want to be part of the union," hey, this, we're signing up with you, basically. Huh?
Where's my contract with the state? I don't get no contract.
Now you're sounding like
I have to obey them.
Well, and here's my perspective on it is, yes, I totally agree, is that there should be, the federal government has a very specific purpose, and we need that type of thing. And the state government has a purpose, we need that type of thing as well. But the federal government, its power is clearly laid out in the Constitution, and to have a better understanding of what that means, we look at the Federalist Papers, which was the founders' kind of commentary on it. So my argument is that there are very specific issues and powers outlined in the Constitution that define and limit the federal government's power. Therefore, anything that falls outside of that, the federal government has no say over, the states do. So if the states have a law on an issue that's not clearly lined out in the Constitution, and to add on top of that, if there is actual federal law that's gone through the Congress that lays out a particular issue, Defense of Marriage Act, then the Supreme Court has absolutely no right in any way to overturn those things because it's outside of their power. And again, Article 3 of the Constitution it's only like 3 or 4 paragraphs. I encourage everyone that's listening, please go read it for yourself. Don't listen to others' interpretations of it. It's very clear what the Supreme Court can do, and it's very, very limited. So I suggest that they have gone far, far outside of their ability and their power and have overturned something they can't do.
Okay, well then I guess that we should all still be segregated, and black people should all still have to drink from a separate.
It's
going to be a result of natural.
Let's do it. Let's do it. Come on, I'm from Alabama. Let's go.
You know what? That's interesting because if the Supreme Court had listened and stayed within their boundaries in the first place, the Congress actually outlawed segregation 70 years earlier before the Dred Scott decision. The Supreme Court came and overthrew what the Congress did, perpetuating segregation for 70-plus years. Again, we would have got rid of that back in the 1800s if it wasn't for the abuse of power of the Supreme Court. And I think that's exactly the way the system was intended to work, was to have a very, very weak, small Supreme Court that had little to no power whatsoever.
And the reality is, if you let small-time government have a lack of segregation, you would see over a significant course of history that it works, and that it would defeat this problem where there's this massive segregation and we need this central authority. Decentralization works. Testing over a large group of scenarios works. The winners emerge. It's over, man.
Yeah, I feel that way.
That's true. We got no quartering of troops in civilian homes. I can't think of a single amendment that still works. We got people in your pants at the airport. We got free speech zones. We got gun regulation. We have every other imaginable scenario. The Constitution is over, man. It's over.
Let's go back to it. Let's go back to it.
Go ahead, John.
Well, I mean, the whole this might be nitpicking, but the whole you have people in your pants at the airport. I don't know what airport you're going to, but the airports that I've been to haven't really been that invasive, at least not anymore. I mean, there might have been at one time. Huh?
They like my pants better.
John, let me ask you as a Democrat or an independent here, what do you think America will look like 4 years after Donald Trump is president?
Okay, let me paint you a picture. You're going to turn on your TV 7 p.m. Doesn't matter what time zone, it's going to be 7 p.m. And then you're going to have the Donald Trump presidency hour where he regularly goes through his cabinet and he goes, you're fired.
Yeah, everybody's going to be fired. I was going to say that.
Yeah, exactly. No, but you know, I don't really know. Just to be serious about it, I think, I mean, the guy is obviously a well-rounded business guy. I mean, you know, he could force businesses into foreclosure and then still come out on top. So he might be good for the United States. He could force us into bankruptcy, shut down the government for a while. That'll appease the anarchist here, and then you know, after the dust settles, he builds a new
default on all debts.
Yeah, and then after the dust settles, he'll build up a whole new government.
It's already over. We can't pay this shit. It's done. We can't pay it.
Hey, calm down, Captain Anarchy. It'll be all right.
Let me ask you this: exactly what time frame do you think it would take before Iran just nuked us because we voted him into office?
They're not gonna nuke us. There's no such thing. That's ridiculous. They have no.
It's ridiculous. He's gonna call him up in his underwear, and then he's gonna be like, "I'm sorry, but you're fired. You're fired."
Them twice in 100 years. We've taken over their government twice.
John, how do you feel about them our panel here comparing Bernie Sanders to Charles Manson or Satan. Obviously, it's a little tongue-in-cheek, but obviously we're comparing him as
Okay, I'm going to win a little bit more, but you know what I mean.
Okay. Okay, look, I'll say this: if Bernie, which one was Bernie Sanders again?
He's the old guy with the glasses.
No. I know who Bernie Sanders is. I'm saying in the analogy, who's
I
Bernie
think they were saying he was Charles Manson.
Charles Manson. Okay. Well, if that's the case, if that's the comparison here, then I would have to say that any Republican candidate on the other side is just a copy of Jim Jones. Just saying. I mean, you've got religious nuts on the right-hand side that are just going to completely they will either tank our entire country or they will cook our entire world. And they could possibly do it in 4 years. I mean, I just really feel like out of all of the candidates, Bernie Sanders is so far the best one to pick. I mean, there's never going to be a perfect candidate, and to delude yourself in thinking that there's going to be one, that you're just wasting your time. So I think that trying to pick the one that seems like the least harmful to our current situation is the one. And I know that you guys are saying, like, well, if we had infinite money to give to everybody, then yeah, Bernie Sanders would be a good choice. But a lot of politicians go into the White House with a lot of ambition, and I don't see him accomplishing nearly as much as he wants.
I think everything they tell me is totally true.
Well, I think that Bernie Sanders would push us in the right direction that we need to go.
And Obama's going to close Guantanamo Bay and everything. I totally believe it, definitely, for sure. Let's say that that individual rights, individual human freedom, will probably do a lot better job than we do now. That individual contracting, individual decision-making, individual agreements will probably do a lot better job than we do now.
Could you run a business?
You're not serious, right? That's a joke. That's a good one.
Could you run a business?
I would love to hear why that's a joke. That is very serious.
I don't know. You're making me laugh.
I mean, I started with Jesus. That's why you're laughing. But
no. I'm
really laugh when you dead.
No, I'm laughing because you think that people are civilized in any kind of sense. Have you not been on Facebook or Twitter or any of these places? The people out there are just ruthless. And if you do this whole social contract thing between individuals,
will cause a general increase of these attributes. You don't believe in evolution?
Nope.
Oh, I do. I mean, I accept it as the fact that it is.
I believe in evolution. I think that these traits will evolve over time and that we're going to increase in civility, law, understanding, and wisdom, and that we're going to make better agreements with each other over time.
That's not how the evolution of society would work in your scenario there. I don't think that's how it would work.
Evolution doesn't work. I love evolution. You don't like evolution?
No, I do. You're kind of inserting words into my mouth at this point.
Which ones?
Well, no. Okay, how evolution would work is that
social hierarchy.
Huh?
In social hierarchy, you think evolution works, right? So what's the next evolution for our social hierarchy now?
The abolishment of religion and world peace.
What do you mean? I mean nobody's allowed to be religious?
No, not that people aren't allowed to be religious.
Is nobody can have a certain idea. That's so great. I wish we could get better like that.
No. I'm saying that people would become more intelligent to the point that we don't need religion anymore because we can see past the fairy tale.
I wish people had higher IQs. Then they would all agree with you.
No, that's not what I'm saying.
I have 168 IQ.
Then everyone would think what you think.
I have 168 IQ, and I'm very religious, and I consider myself a deep thinker. Does that mean to have anything to do with my religious beliefs?
No.
It's meaningless. You're on the 120 cloud, my friend. There's a limit.
You're on a cloud. You're thinking that people can make contracts between each other and they're not going to screw each other over?
So you guys are